Indian aesthetics. We're continuing the session on Indian aesthetics. Next main topic, one and only remaining topic shall be Alankara. Alankara. Okay. This term, I hope it's not something entirely new for you. So, Alankara. We come across a new figure here. Abhinava Gupta. Abhinava Gupta. Okay, see, note down the spelling again. Gupta. We pronounce it as Gupta, but T-A. So that's the way some of the terms, some of the spellings and pronunciation you have to note down in the case of certain terms like this. So even something related with the Sanskrit scripts. So high esteem. He claims high esteem among the interpreters in poetry composition. Abhinava Gupta is one of the main figures, and he recognizes basic affinity of the aesthetic experience with the spiritual experience, just given as an introduction there. But the term Alankara, we're going to discuss the term Alankara. Now, he says how the poetic language triggers of the aesthetic process through its suggestive nature. Already we have come across that expression, uh, impression, suppression, those ideas, how you the reader can be impressed by the suggestive nature. Actually, it's a suggestion inside. It's hidden. Meanings are hidden inside, and it's already somewhere hidden in one way or other with the poetic charm, poetic adding some other features in language, making use of the flourished language. You're not saying or giving something straight, especially in poetry. You're getting something in a roundabout way, or at least you have to make effort to get the full significance of the terms and the compositions. Then you're impressed because already there is an effort taken on your part because of the suggestion. There is something hidden, and that is the way in which the poet, the writer, impresses you. See, hope you remember those elements like expression, suppression is there, and impression. Out of that suppression, you are impressed. And that is the way you are expressing things, that a poet is expressing the idea. So, here, once again, we come across such an idea of a suggestion. So, that is the major idea concept related with Alankara. This is a suggestion, suggestive nature. Please be on time. So, suggestive nature. Suggestion. What do you mean by suggestion? You try to connect it with Alankara. Alankara, obviously, it's a poetic beauty, added charm, something extraordinary in poetry, in literary, creative field. You come across something different. The language is not the way you do or you hold it with in communication, daily life conversations, casual conversations. No, there is a difference. You cannot down differences. So, Alankara can be taken as one of the elements. Here, we come across Indian aesthetics. We discussed a rasa theory, major part in that, then Vyanjana, and in that we came across all these elements of any speech, elements that can be there in any speech. But now we come across one of the essential or major components or features of any poetic composition, that is Alankara. And it's a kind of poetic language triggers of the aesthetic process. Because of the suggestive nature in poetry, an aesthetic process of aesthetics beauty arises. It's unlike you read a newspaper report, very factual, no much suggestion, but you get matter of fact details. When you read something of that kind, a report, whether newspaper report or any kind of very official report, you don't have much of a poetic language there. It's not at all having a suggestive nature, but you get things straight there. Hope you can identify. You get ideas straight in a normal report. very casual conversation also. We don't make things, we don't give any suggestive, flourished language or ornamental language. We can borrow that idea from Aristotle. Ornamental language, artistic ornaments. But here, a poem is supposed to have that suggestive nature, which adds beauty and it triggers of that aesthetic experience in us, in the readers. Then, in a truly poetic composition, that's what he says. In a truly poetic composition, the writer grasps the full significance of the words and their possible meanings. In a truly poetic composition, that is to be highlighted because some poets are highly proficient in what they write. They can do justice to what they write. They know the full significance of the words they use, possible other meanings that may come, the meanings that can be there and beyond that. All those ideas can be taken up and dealt by a truly poetic genius. That is, you're doing justice to what you write, or you hold complete control of your writing. That's what you mean by this truly poetic composition. In every writer, we cannot assure or guarantee that kind of a skill, dexterity. But here, you can see it's truly, if it is a truly poetic composition. After all, every topic in this module or any literary criticism based topic, you can see a connection that is with the poetic or any kind of creative writing. Either these theorists are giving suggestion for writing or creating some kind of literary genre, or they are giving some points to assess that. How can you determine the quality of either poetry or of drama or of fiction? Fiction we haven't come across yet, but later critics will talk about that as well. You have to know this is about very this is during a past era where fiction and such other modern literary types have not been there. Now, during this time, we can see the flourishing of drama, mainly about poetry and all. So that's why these people are focusing upon the composition of poems or drama, such literary types or runner. Now, their possible meaning. So that is truly poetic composition. In such a truly poetic composition, you can see the full significance of the words and their possible meanings. Every control is with the poetic genius. And poetic language, it has its own magical properties. These people find that magical properties are there in every poetic language. It's in a poetic language. It has its own magical properties. It is endowed with the various flourishes of expression. It is endowed with the various flourishes of expression. Flourishes. And that's what you call Alankara. Think about uh, the writer expressing or describing his lover as, oh, my love was like a red, red rose. If it is a casual way of mentioning, he may say, my lover is very beautiful. But in a poem, you come across a metaphor. This is one of the Alankaras. Alankara actually, the term that we use is figure of speech. Figure of speech. Figures of speech. Sorry, figures of speech. You are adding beauty to that. You're not saying something straight. Rose, you attach beauty, charm with the rose flower. And when this person compares the woman or his lover with the rose, then again you are adding flourishes of expression there. And that's what you mean by Alankara. And that's where poetic language is somewhere different. It's unlike the daily life conversation. It's not at all like the casual speech, casual mentions that we make in our literal conversation, pieces of conversation, or in our daily life context. There also you may have to describe people. There also you may have to comment on people and their beauty, but no, it's not the way poetic language does, or some poets do. You can see flourishes of expression. In Alankara, you come across flourishes of expression. It's just one of the examples. You come across numerous examples in different poetic compositions. വളരെ ഡിഫറെൻ്റ് ആയിട്ടാണ് അത് പിന്നെ എക്സ്പ്രസ്ഡ് ആവുന്നത്. അതിനു വേണ്ടിയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ടൂളാണ്. ഇറ്റ്സ് എ ടൂൾ. അലങ്കാര, ഫിഗേഴ്സ് ഓഫ് സ്പീച്ച്, ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ് ടൈപ്സ് ഓഫ് ഫിഗേഴ്സ് ഓഫ് സ്പീച്ച്. ദോസ് ആർ ടൂൾസ് for making the language of poetry very expressive and flourished, flamboyant, beautiful. So this is the, and then again you're adding a difference to that. Hope you can mark it out with just with these two examples. When you talk about a person in a very cool way, like, yeah, it's very beautiful, she's very beautiful, she's very, actually you cannot talk about a person like that. Because this woman, she's very charming. But a man can talk, it's handsome. It's a term. These are the terms normally used. It's a beautiful doll, you can say. Normally we do not use that term beautiful with the people. Charming and handsome. These are the terms which actually usually go with that. But okay, fine. And again, you can talk about, you can describe a thing. It's very beautiful. It's beautiful flower. Beautiful handwriting. Right. So, but here there is a difference when you describe it in such a way, like my love is like a red, red rose and all. Right. Yes. Abhinavagupta says every individual is blessed with some dormant emotive instincts. What do I mean by dormant? He says that again, he opines that every individual, we say like everyone cannot write poem, everyone cannot write poetry, everyone cannot write fiction. It's a special skill. The way, same way some people are very skilled at swimming, some are very skilled at driving, some with the swing, some with the singing. Everyone cannot dance. All singers are not dancers. All dancers are not swimmers. Some people can run fast, but they cannot jump fast. So this is the way we have different skills, but of course you can see an element of training in it, or a kind of effort on the part of the people. Most of the people who are successful in different fields of their own, after a while, once they become successful, we say they are skilled, they are much skilled in that field, or they are the exponents or experts of that. But if you watch, if you look at if you notice down about what they say about their success in some of the interviews and all, they say they definitely have to talk about a time of tough training, or an effort, self effort on their part. That's why Abhinavagupta says every individual is blessed with some dormant emotive instincts at his very birth, some kind of a skill. No one is born without any skill. Everyone is with a bit of skill for something. Sometimes it may be art, sometimes it may be even some other, what do you say, useful arts. Even some of them are very skilled at mathematics. Some prefer science only. Some are very skilled mechanical field. Some people are truly interested in. Some people can never look at that area. So these differences are there. And now, when a purely individualized emotion becomes the object of cognition, it is invariably related to this deep subconscious strata of the human psyche. So sometimes we have purely individualized emotions. Sometimes we sometimes say about the poetic compositions or any other creative writing, creative art as part of some of the hidden emotions inside us. As some people write, some people write as a way of letting out their pent up emotions or sorrows or whatever. Some people listen to music in that way. So different people take up different people have different take on different situations. The way some people cry aloud, some people just weep. So that differences are there, essential differences are there in human nature itself. So here he talks about art and how we can have a look at art and artistic composition here. Object of cognition, it's invariably related to this deep subconscious strata of human psyche. So you can know human psyche is with the different kinds of emotions and all. Thus, the aesthetic experience penetrates into deepest realms of one's personality. Thus, the aesthetic experience penetrates into the deepest realms of one's personality. Sometimes, at least, the hidden emotions, feelings of ours come in that way. Sometimes it is dormant. Every time it doesn't come out. Sometimes, at least, it is dormant. Sometimes it comes out, and sometimes when it comes out as some poetic composition, you become a creative writer. So that's all. But that is a person who doesn't write, a person or people who do not write, we cannot say that they are without emotions, feelings and all. Some people express that, some people express it in different ways. Different people express it in different ways. Think about art forms. I showed you the picture of that rasa, Navarasas, and that is in dance. Dance as a performing art. People make use of their emotions. It's a way of expressing, even with their different kind of expressing techniques are there in different arts. The techniques also are different. Mudras and all. They have mudras. In poetry composition, they have different kind of a language. Language, it's the same language. Even if it is Malayalam, English, Hindi, Tamil, whichever language it may be, the language is the same. But the way you use, the way you compose, make compositions differ. That's all. So here Abhinavagupta says nothing much, but every human individual is with a lot of emotions. Those are dormant. And one more point he adds, every human being is born with a kind of skill. That may be dormant. Some people have the opportunity to take it or to bring it out. Some people never express. So you might have come across people who say, I'm a very good bathroom singer. Why? The person doesn't get an opportunity to sing on stage, maybe. Or the person is not that confident. Or the person doesn't get much of a uh, motivation on the part of others. But you identify now. Think about the all those reality shows where very small kids are on stage. They are singing, they are performing, they get appreciated. It's not and we are for sure it's not an initiative taken on their own part, just on their part. They need support on the part of other people. Sometimes with the parents, sometimes with teachers. That is the So that is the way, but in any way. But some people never get it and their skills are hidden inside. Think about what Grace sings about, that kind of a hidden skills. Like sometimes like that pearls hidden inside the fathoms of sea, or sometimes that wild flowers which have fragrance, beauty, but no one sees because those are in the forest. No one notices it. The same way, he talks about that deepest realms of one's personality at times, sometimes, and at times it gets expressed. We identify ourselves imaginatively with the poetic theme. The emotion is experienced in its universal aspect without any reference to the specific individual. When in poetic compositions, when some personal ideas or when you get a mention on some personal experiences, most people can identify with it. That is, it becomes a universal experience. I will just get you an example. We can leave all those form everything. I will take one uh, quote from Life of Pi, one of the best novels I have ever, one of the beautiful novels I have ever come across. The Pi, after the shipwreck, after his losing everyone, every family member, he's totally, he's orphaned now with the loss, and he says he's all alone in the middle of Pacific with a tiger. He's fighting with the tiger. He's trying to survive, and in between he says, "I kept myself busy. Keeping myself busy became the key to my survival. Keeping myself busy became the key to my survival." He's involved in different tasks like he's fishing all the while. He's standing on the lifeboat and just enjoy the weather. All those everything. Every time he tries to keep himself busy. So think about making that very personal experience. You're reading it, but you can relate. See, we don't have to be a shipwreck. We don't have to face such a loss to identify with the person. People are there who are facing different problems in their life, and at least at times at least you might have come across people mentioning this idea of being involved in something so that you don't have time to think about your losses or problems. You make yourself busy. I could easily relate with this. So hope a majority of people can relate with that statement. For that you don't have to be pi or you don't have to come across meet such a situation of being a shipwreck or something. So that's how universal aspect is there with every human experience. Some exceptions are there. All human beings may not be able to identify with a particular human emotion. Some people are more empathetic. Even if you haven't come across such a situation, you can empathize with the people. The reading of literature becomes more beautiful and effective. You read the life of a character. You never came across, met such a situation. Still, you can feel for them. You can step into their shoes and think in terms of their problems and all. So that's why Abhinavagupta here says some kind of objective emotions. So when you read that, it may be about one individual character, single character, but you can identify yourself imaginatively with that poetic theme. And that emotion you can take at a universal level without any reference to the specific individual. We don't know Pi. We never met him. Life of Pi, in that, at least I mentioned that because it's very famous a novel. It is, you have a movie adaptation. Everything is there. So, great novel talking about the survival of a person shipwreck. So that is an individual experience, but it loses that individual aspect. And once you start enjoying it at universal, or as a human experience, it loses all its personal stings and becomes a source of pure joy. Think about Solitary Reaper. When the poet sings about that woman and her suffering, sorrow, she's singing. She's all alone, and a melancholic tone comes. If you keep the person that speaker and that woman who we don't know, the person, the poet also we don't know, speaker we don't know. Personally, we are not at all acquainted with those two. But just take it as a universal experience. A woman who is singing some sad song and a person who is observing, and the person is trying to identify with her, trying to find out the meaning behind her song. What must be the theme? What are the themes, or what must be the emotions that run inside her mind during the time of her reaping? What makes her sad? So when you make that poem, when you bring a humane feeling for that, you you can see that magic of personal stings going out, losing of its personal stings, and you take it as a source of pure joy. Sometimes you also feel like inquiring the problem of that woman, or you also start thinking about the woman. What must be the reason for her singing such a sad song? Why doesn't she sing a song of joy? So why doesn't she dance with the joy? So she has some problems. She may have some problems. So you start thinking with the poet or the speaker. There is nothing called personal sting, but you take it as a source of joy. You take it as an experience. While the grief in real life is an unpleasant experience. While the grief in real life is an unpleasant experience, it when metamorphoses into his Karunarasa, into Karunarasa, sorry, through imaginative representation, it becomes joyful experience. Yeah, that's it. Even if it is Karunarasa, which is attached with the sorrow, sadness, but once taken into that imaginative representation method or mode, it becomes a joyful experience. You can easily relate it with this, with the way people listen to some sad music, and sometimes they, when they are alone, they listen to such music. You try to connect it with some of the past experience, and you try imagining ideas in that way. Then you may cry, but still that brings you ultimate joy afterwards. So these are human possibilities, human situations, the way you approach art. And these statisticians, these theorists, these people try to make it in a theoretical way. They try to bring all these ideas together under the title of aesthetics. And Abhinavagupta's view of Rasa. Now about Rasa, what he has to talk about Rasa. It's accepted as the most indisputable truth on the topic. Actually, this is taken as the most indisputable. When you talk about the personal experience, once taken into the realm of aesthetic joy, it becomes something universal. You can enjoy it. It loses the unpleasant texture, and you become capable of enjoying it at the realm of imagination and artistic enjoyment. Hope it is clear. അല്ലേ? അത് ക്ലിയർ ആണെന്ന് വിചാരിക്കുന്നു. കാരണം നമ്മൾ ആർട്ടിനെ ആ രീതിയിൽ എടുക്കുകയാണ്. അപ്പം അതിൽ ചിലപ്പോൾ അതൊരു വേറൊരാൾ പറയുന്ന എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ആയിരിക്കും, പേഴ്സണൽ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ആയിരിക്കാം. പക്ഷെ നമ്മളത് ആർട്ട് എന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ അതിനേക്ക് ആ രീതിയിൽ എൻജോയ് ചെയ്ത് തുടങ്ങുമ്പോൾ സംടൈംസ് അറ്റ്ലീസ്റ്റ് ആ പേഴ്സണൽ നമ്മൾ സംടൈംസ് ഇപ്പം സോളിറ്ററി റീപ്പർ എന്നുള്ളൊരു പോം ആലോചിച്ച് നോക്കണം. ഒരാള് വേറൊരാൾ പാടുന്നതിനെ നോക്കുന്നത് ബൈ സം പീപ്പിൾ മേ ഒരു ആർട്ടിസ്റ്റിക്കലി അതിനെ അപ്രോച്ച് ചെയ്യുന്നില്ലെങ്കിൽ ദിസ് പേഴ്സൺ ഈസ് വേസ്റ്റിംഗ് ടൈം മേ ബി ദറ്റ് പോസിബിലിറ്റി ഈസ് ദർ ടു ടോക്ക് ഇൻ ടേംസ് ഓഫ് ദറ്റ് ടൈം സ്പെൻഡിങ് ഓഫ് ഇറ്റ് ഇൻ എ ഫ്രൂട്ട്ഫുൾ വേ ഓർ നമ്മളെന്താ ചെയ്യുന്നത് അതിന് ആർട്ടായിട്ട് വാല്യൂ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ആ രീതിയിൽ അതിനെ എടുക്കുമ്പോൾ കുറച്ചും കൂടി അതിൽ ഒരു ബ്യൂട്ടി ഈസ്തറ്റിക് ഫീൽ വി ക്യാൻ assume. So Abhinava Gupta's this view of Rasa is accepted as the most indisputable truth on the topic. But Rasa theory is connected with the Rasa theory. Everything is about bringing those Rasa, the aesthetic experience in writings and enjoying that artistic compositions. How you can enjoy it out of all these compositions, right? Now, next main topic, use and abuse of Alankara. It's about a subtopic of Alankara. In poetry, feeling and imagination is necessary to the perception, presentation of matters of fact. Feeling and imagination are necessary to the, in poetry, feeling and imagination are necessary to the perception. You have an idea, you have a theme in mind, but to present it, you need a kind of feeling. You have to add a feeling and beauty and imagination to that. The same way we made a comparison and contrast with the kind of very in the formal letters, formal pieces of conversation or formal reports on some events. It's not imaginative. It has its own formality, even in language and its expression. But here we are talking about Alankara and poetic beauty. The natural description is called Swabhavokti. Please note down the term Swabhavokti. Natural description. It's about the plain state. So not plain. It's not place. Plain statement. So plain statement. Sorry. We have to correct it in that other file. So natural description is called as Swabhavokti, which is a plain statement. It's something very plain. Yeah, that is the, you can take it from the, you go, you come, all these statements are plain. Nothing much or nothing hidden inside it. No suggestion, nothing. It's telling something straight to straight. And a figure of speech. At the same time, a figure of speech which we are discussing in terms of Alankara. Alankara is the term there in aesthetics and in this theory, but in English it's termed figures of speech. Figure of speech is a deviation from the plain and the ordinary mode of speaking. It's about suggestion. It's about a hidden way of represent or a roundabout. So kind of you make it somewhere different. So it's not at all the same ordinary mode of speaking. But and again, the purpose is to get a greater effect, achieve greater effect. That's the reason why we use figures of speech or alankaras in poetic compositions. All poetic expression involves a kind of deviation of beauty. All poetic expression involves deviation of beauty called alankaras. And we can hardly conceive of poetry without this beautiful form. So without alankara, every poem you take and you can find out some kind of a difference in expression. The poem, the line that I mentioned right now, just now, that it's from Robert Burns, where he sings about his lover as a red rose. There is a deviation of beauty. It's not like he's saying she's very beautiful. No, it's not straight. But he mentions it, or it's a deviation of beauty. He makes use of. The speaker makes use of a deviation in beauty, in composition. We can hardly conceive of poetry without this beautiful form. Actually, without Alankara, poems do not usually or actually look beautiful. That's what they opine. Nowadays we cannot always stick on to. Nowadays we have modern versions of poetry compose, modern poetry where you don't come across always, you don't come across such alankaras of deviation in beauty. They are talking about a time when all these were strictly observed. Alankara is the inevitable incarnation in which an idea embodies itself. So Alankara in their term, in Indian aesthetic, the terms of aesthetics, it's an inevitable. What do you mean by inevitable? Something that we cannot avoid. Necessary. So inevitable incarnation in which an idea embodies itself. Incarnation actually, it's a term that you attach with some worship and all. Certain religions have this practice of assuming sometimes some people or sometimes some uh, objects as incarnation. They assume they give due respect to that symbols or that what they take to be their god or something religious. And incarnation is that concept is incarnation. Concept of incarnation looks like that. Think about the concept of human gods and all. Those people who worship them, they assume that these people are with some power and all, and they go for what you say, worshipping them and all. So incarnation, they assume that power. So here, when you talk about Alankara, it's about incarnation which an idea embodies itself. There they take this idea of God getting incarnated. There's some power, features of God. You see, these people, that people, sometimes see, most often it is with the human God concept. You know, we'll say. So embodying is a concept, which this incarnation process happens in that way. You embody the idea of God in certain figures, certain symbols or statues, wherever. And again, in the case of poetic composition, you take that idea, the idea a poet keep in mind, has in mind, and you bring it out through Alankara. You present it through Alankara, inevitable incarnation. That's what it is told. Now, according to Anandavardhana, another important figure you can see here, according to Anandavardhana, okay, Anandavardhana, sorry, Anandavardhana, now another figure talks, Anandavardhana, Alankara is not the Sharira, but outer, Sharira the outer body, but Shariri the soul. Okay, we can take another uh, idea to bring the importance or to understand the important full significance of Alankara. Let us see. Anandavadana opines that you just we have in Indian spirituality, we have this concept of body mind dualism. Body mind dualism, where you give more importance to body soul, body and soul, Sharira and the soul, Atmava, Sharira. And you give importance, or in spirituality, they give importance to soul. Body is just the outer covering. The same way, Alankara, he says, Anandavardhana says that it's not the Sharira but the outer body, Sharira, the outer body, but the Shariri, the soul. It is more important. It is the soul. Alankara, once used in poetry, behaves as the soul of the whole of its being, the whole poem. It can be taken as the soul of it. Nucleus, soul. Now, and Boja classified Alankara into three groups. With this concept, we have three classification, and one is that of Shabda. Just with some words you bring that Alankara. Then you talk about that as the Alankara of word, and Bahya, it's just external. Shabda. With the Bahya, external beauty only, it can add. Then comes the second type, it's internal. Those of artha, with a meaning, some hidden meaning. It's the term abhyartana. Abhyartana. Abhyartana, that's internally you bring beauty. Alankara itself, but some are just with with mere words add an Alankara and a figure of speech element. Then the second one is comparatively better, which is internally it is bringing beauty. The Alankara itself, but with the meaning you get the feel of Alankara. Then the third one is those of both Shabda and Artha. And it is taken as title Bahya. It's a term we have to see, wait. External, internal, but Bahyarthana. Abhyarthana, Bahyabhyarthanayana. So Bahyabhyarthana. Now it's correct. Bahyabhyarthana. That is the combination of these two. Bahya Abhyarthana. Then you combine these two. If you have both the effect of combining Shabda and Artha, it can be taken external, internal. Just added beauty, more beautiful. It's more complicated, at the same time more beautiful. And the first one, Shabdalankara, the first type, Shabdalankara, is compared to a dress, garland, or so forth. Compared to a dress, garland, and so forth. Means they just have a dress, garland, some kind of a garland, some flower made, some garland made of flower. It's just Shabdalankara. The Alankara you make with a Shabda is just compared to dress. It's not. It's an outer covering only. And the second type, Arthalankara. Arthalankara is like cleaning the teeth, combing the hair, and so on. You add a kind of, it's something more effective, Arthalankara. So, cleaning, taking bath, cleaning teeth, or sorry, not taking bath, cleaning the teeth and hair. You do some more effect to make the body beautiful, but not completely internal as well. Here, the third one can be taken as, or you can compare it with the bath, which is more. And again, in spiritual terms, taking bath is about cleaning the whole self. That is the meaning they attach with. That's why Bhahyabhyartana is compared to bath itself. More than combing hair and cleaning teeth, bath has much significance in Indian spirituality. So we are talking about Indian aesthetics, so we have to think in terms of their ideas to get the full significance. That's how you have three different ways of expressing Alankara. Some can be just external, some can be internal, and the third one can be external internal. So one and the three comparisons you make when you have a dress and garland, it's about Shabdalankara. Not that effective, but you just have a decoration. That's all. And the second one makes you more fine, makes the body more fine with the cleaning of teeth, combing the hair, and all. But it's not even more, it's not that effective as the third one, which is akin to bath. Akin means equal to bath. Or it's like bath, taking bath. That's all. You see here. Okay, we stop for the time being. Thank you.